I'm the light bringer. I'm the fucking universe.
Ah! Shut up!
How's it hanging, everybody? You're watching Broken Controller Club's Bad Games Summer, a special event where I play bad games throughout the summer, and it's increasingly miserable, and you can probably hear it in my voice by now. As always, you can support the channel by subscribing and liking, and in the description is a link to the merch store, and if you use the code RAGEQUIT at checkout, you'll get a shiny 15% off. I'm also on Buy Me a Coffee if you'd rather just send a tip that way. Today's steaming pile of monkey shit is Alone in the Dark: Inferno, a PS3 and Xbox game that I was not prepared to hate as much as I do. I thought it would merely be subpar, and while playing it, I felt like I was being punished for something awful, like burning an orphanage down or introducing Ezra Miller to a bunch of minors. If you watched my review of the original Alone in the Dark on PC, you'll know that this is a series that is near and dear to my black, dead heart. It's the granddaddy of survival horror games, with fun jump scares and Lovecraftian horror that anybody who likes spooky games would enjoy even decades after its release. The original PC games came as a trilogy, and I admittedly didn't play the third game because I heard it was kinda stanky, and I skipped the next installment. It was called Alone in the Dark: The New Nightmare, because I didn't really hear anything good about that one either. The one I'm playing today, though, pretty much abandoned everything that made the original game, and to a lesser extent the sequel, so great. This game has no survival horror to speak of, almost no exploration, and the puzzles are all environmental and physics-based, with the physics being completely inaccurate. I mean, look at that. Why are the doors bending like they're made of rubber? Series protagonist Edward Carnby has an updated look, and at least to me, he looks more like he should be a roadie for a band like Creed, Collective Soul, or Three Doors Down. The story is awful. You play as Edward Carnby, an amnesiac and complete asshole who wakes up from some exorcism in a really bad mood. May or may not be, because he knows what game he's in, and pretty much from the moment he wakes up, something known as a living scar starts chasing after him and destroying the building he's in and possessing people inside. It's like being on that Twister or Earthquake attraction at Universal Studios. Things will just explode, and it's always in ways that let him progress through the level. From here, he meets this chick named Sarah, who's also annoying and has a stupid pixie haircut, and an old guy named Theo, Paddington, not Huxtable, and together they go on an adventure to get all the pieces of a magic MacGuffin called the Philosopher's Stone, an item forged by Lucifer after his fall from heaven. The stone is supposed to grant people wealth and immortality, but actually just makes them a vessel for his soul. Pretty sure this is how the Chi-Coms got TikTok so popular. Who is Edward Carnby, and why did he lose his memory? Why did Theo, a character who knows why and how everything is happening and how to fix it, complain about being too weak to go on and then kill himself 10 minutes after you meet him instead of just using one of Edward's many first aid sprays that heal everything instantly? Why is Sarah in this story when she's basically worthless through the entire thing? Who knows, and who the cares? Even when it does answer how Carnby lost his memory, it doesn't fill in the blanks of anything, and there are a lot of plot holes. This is the same Carnby from the first 3 games at least, but then he disappeared and was possessed by Lucifer after that and didn't age, for some reason. By the end of the game, you find out this entire game's story revolves around Lucifer wanting to possess him again and use him as a vessel to, I don't know, take over the Earth or something. After killing the main human bad guy, Carnby places the stone in a magic box, and then Lucifer possesses Sarah. At this point, you can get one of 2 terrible endings. In the first ending, you shoot Sarah and Lucifer possesses Carnby instead, and then it's game over.
I'm the light bringer. I'm the fucking universe.
If you choose not to shoot Sarah, then the other awful ending is triggered, and Lucifer/Sarah taunts Carnby, and then he just walks away. Like, he basically says, I want nothing to do with this crazy bitch, I'm out, and then it's game over. That's it. Those are the endings. There's no resolution, and no matter what, Lucifer wins. So, from beginning to end, the story is just crap, and the fact that they tied this to the original games puts a taint on them, and I don't know about you, but I can't enjoy anything when I know a taint has been on it. I mean, why was he not able to continue possessing Carnby to begin with? Why didn't he take over the world back then? I don't believe that any human being would be powerful enough to exorcise Satan himself, so this should have been cake for him to begin with. I hated the inventory management in this. Everything in this stupid game takes a year to do. It's like if you have the inventory system of Resident Evil 1, but it's all in real time and getting damaged interrupts whatever you're doing. Only certain hands can use certain items, and everything takes a different button. There's even a button to blink. You mean to tell me that you couldn't program a way around a blink button? For the 2 times in the game that you'll need it. Carnby is the second guy I've ever known of to have a blink button, with Joe Biden being the first. Healing is the same way. You have to pick out your little spray, aim it at your wounds, and then spray it. And speaking of healing, you'll need to keep those items on you, because you actually get damage during cutscenes, and none of them are skippable. So you'll sit there helplessly watching your screen flash red while Carnby and Sarah cuss at each other. Also, why is this happening? You have 2 freaking arms. If you need to heal your left arm, just put the damn spray in your right hand and use it. The gameplay is a mixture of third and first person views. The first person is only useful for shooting, and third person is terrible because the camera will be static in some areas, and the analog is so sensitive that jumping will usually get you killed, or you'll end up running off a ledge. You can only do the melee combat in third person, and you're supposed to lock onto a target, and then you use the analog to swing the weapon, like pretend the analog is the guy's arms, and you get the idea. Joke's on you though, because the lock-on doesn't work at all, and you'll end up totally missing the enemies most of the time. You're also supposed to use this for moving stuff, like live electric wires that you need to move with the stick onto a ledge. Electric wires that you should be able to grab with your damn hands and physically move but can't, even though you just climbed a live electric wire 10 minutes earlier. If I have a blink button, then why can't I just have this idiot lean forward and grab the wire and move it out of the way? Why is this stupid piece of shit super complicated on some things but black and white with the others? Basically, the whole game's flow has you doing an action-adventure section at first. Then they'll force you to do a driving section where you drive at top speed, and then Sarah tells you with almost no notice where to turn. Any of you who have let your girlfriends or wives navigate on car rides knows exactly what the hell I'm talking about, by the way. Anyways, you'll die like 10 times because you have to drive up ramps like you're in the General Lee, but even slightly missing the ramp means you'll die or get stuck in the map. And then it's back to action-adventure after that, and then you'll drive again, same thing, top speed, but this time, if you're too slow, your car for some reason gets picked up by these winged monsters, and then they drop the car in midair and kill you. You'll see that a lot also, because there's no way to know how fast you're going. Then, more action-adventure. The graphics in this aren't great, but you wouldn't know that because the game is so freaking dark the whole time. I tried turning the gamma all the way up in the menu, and it did almost nothing. I mean, I guess it fits with the title because a lot of times I was alone and in the dark, but then half the time I couldn't see what I was doing, and the whole game has this gray, dark, muddy look to it. The only time things were easier to see was when they were on fire, and there was almost always something on fire, I'll give the game that. Enemies are weak to it, but you wouldn't know it because you would have to swing your melee weapon onto some fire to set it, and I already told you how hard this is. I thought I hated Bounty Battle when I reviewed it last week, but I'd take that any day over Alone in the Dark. This is the very definition of a bad video game. The controls are terrible, the characters are all unlikable and stupid, the gameplay isn't fun, the game is ugly and way too dark, and the story has an ending that basically says you wasted your entire time playing it. Add to that this game takes around 8 or 9 hours to get through, and by the end you'll hate yourself for staying with it that long since there's zero payoff, like zero, none. Stay far, far away from this pile and play the first couple games instead. Thankfully, that is all I've got for today. Make sure you subscribe to get notified of the next one, and thanks as always for your support. Congratulations! You're one of an elite few to make it to the end of the video. Reward yourself by hitting the round subscribe button in the middle, and then check out the other goodies I've got in the links next to it.